A couple years ago, about 1 in 3 seed companies got Series A. Now it's like 1 in 10, and it's getting worse. And so that means that understanding your options at the post-seed stage is more and more important because you might need that money before you're ready for the Series A.
Why did you decide to host this event?
What we wanted to do with post-seed is to have short panels where we address questions that are typically only discussed behind closed doors.
I remember there's a company I started and we missed our revenues. And so we were running out of cash. It's hard to start a new company, and I don't think you learn how to be an entrepreneur at an accelerator. This ability to see the world differently than it is, this ability to do more than anyone thinks possible with less than anyone thinks possible. That's my definition of an entrepreneur.
At Sequoia, you guys looked at Uber for their Series A. They certainly had an entrepreneur with a lot of conviction and personality and a big market. Why did you guys say no?
Yeah, that was a big failure on our part. What we got stuck on was the market, and the original pitch in the Series A was that it was going to be a black car service. We did not dream with Travis and what we call dreaming with the founder on what this could be.
Thank you for joining us for our second annual post-seed event. This is actually the 6th year we did the event, and in the first few years of the event we called it Venture Shift because it was about how the venture business was changing. And now we have a more specific name because we've really seen how the seed and the Series A worlds have collided in an interesting way.
You know, now it's this stage, it's actually one of the most active stages, and most CEOs, many of whom are here, realize they actually need to go through this stage and need to raise these post-seed rounds in order to land that coveted Series A.
Series A is a pivot point, it's a turning point. You get A right, and you can move on to B and C. You get A wrong, and it's really hard to recover.
Would you say there's too much money at seed, or that the Series A firms can benefit from that?
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much or not. So you remember, you know these numbers, but if you think about it in context, the total seed capital is still less than 5% of all venture capital dollars. I think it's hard to say it's overfunded given that it's such a relatively small portion of the business.
For investing in the Series A, we're looking for, we're looking for founders that are rare breed. They're creative spirits. They're the underdog. They're the resolute. They're independent thinking.
When money becomes more freely available, people don't spend as much time refining their thinking about what they want to do, why, and what the risks are. If you can get money from multiple places, go with the people who ask you the hardest questions, not the easiest.
Well, John, a real pleasure.
It's
Thank
a pleasure
you very
to be
much
here.
for your time today.
Yep.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
And I'd say today we had some really high quality speakers, some people that I've heard or read a lot about them, and this is the first time that I got to see them in person. So that was really great.
I found it really interesting the expertise that a lot of the entrepreneurs shared regarding their experiences with raising and how they prefer to raise and certain scenarios. It's also really interesting to see how that overlaps or conflicts with with what investors are saying.
I think the post-seed conference is really important because entrepreneurs have more options than ever before for raising money, but that also means that there's more noise than ever before for them to filter through. So I like a conference like this where it filters some of the best people to the top.
This conference is different to me because I feel that we're all discussing something that's incredibly relevant and being really honest about it. And it feels a little bit like back to the basics, right? Let's not talk fluff, let's not talk hyper-growth. Let's talk about reality and business basics that need to be accomplished to get the financing needed to keep your company going and make it ultimately incredibly valuable.